E36 unfiltered, aka the unfiltered room with Mr. E. Gray. Introducing all the latest names and the latest news. He the hottest take, he the new face, yeah, the new sound, but keep it old school and raw interviews from local athletes, and even digging off and entertainment too. Own style, he got his own lane, it's unfiltered out, we keep it raw, man. New content to keep the people ready. E36, no Jerome Bettis, real dialogue and real conversations. You keep it real, but we real. Mr. E. Gray in the building. E36 unfiltered.
Alright, welcome live everybody. How you doing? It's your boy E. Gray for the E36 Unfiltered Podcast Show. I thank you guys for your time and for tuning in today for another great night. Tonight is going to be our entertainers night. Yeah, this is once again our entertainers night. Now, before we get started here, before I introduce this extraordinary guest we got here, make sure you do me two things, or better yet, three things. Hit the like button, hit the share button, hashtag E36. Again, one more time, hit the like button, share this, and hashtag E36. We'll make sure we get this out to as many people as possible to catch this out, to see this video, to see this great interview. So what we got here on the platform tonight, none other than ultra talented, yes, ultra talented, raw, skilled, just gifted to the high heavens above, the recording artist, my man, saxophonist, Alex D. Banks II. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. How you doing?
Oh, man, wonderful. No complaints at all. As I always tell my guests, man, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule when you can be doing so many different things. But you took the time out to accept the invitation to come here on the E36 Unfiltered, aka the podcast, the Unfiltered Room on here tonight. Thank you,
man. It's a complete honor to be on there, man. We're gonna enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What we're gonna do here, I'm gonna make sure I get it on here so you guys can share this and make sure it's posted here on the podcast on the live feeds. I'm gonna make sure you tag my man as well to get him on here so he can tag it and share it to all his friends and the family and everything like that, and then get you guys started. Again, once again, this is E. Gray of the E36 Unfiltered Podcast Show. Again, my man Alex Banks here is on here. So I just tagged you into the video. If you will, make sure you go share that, Alex, onto your page so we can get this thing going and get everybody involved in this wonderful video, this wonderful interview that we're about to have for you guys.
Most definitely. Okay.
So we're not gonna take no time here. Again, I'll put in the video the links of everything. I'm dropping a couple links in here tonight for you guys to make sure you can go subscribe to the podcast, which is on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Radio Public, pretty much any and everywhere that you can. If you want to listen to the E36 Unfiltered Podcast, it is available, and we also will be breaking down a new piece of merchandise that we have here today. So you got to stay to the end of the show. If I can show it out to you guys, we already got a few pre-orders going out. So you guys check it out and get started. So anyway, we're gonna take any more time to jump into this one. So man, you're actually working on a new project. So we got to jump off into it right now. We spoke. Yeah. So you're working on a new project. We spoke actually, I think a couple weeks ago, and you're like, well, I'm ready to come on, man, but I actually got to set up for the studio to work on this new project I got going on. So of course I'm like, hey, no problem. Let's give me better material to come back up here and ask you about it when that time comes. So yes. With that being said, man, kind of tell us a little bit about your new project you got going on, man, just to kind of give a little brief about that.
Man, so I'm actually really excited about this new project that's coming out at the top of the year. I got a phenomenal producer named Darius DeMar. He's actually from Huntsville, Alabama, but he's originated out of Orlando, Florida. So
okay.
This new project for me is exactly what I've been looking for. It gives a different side of me from my previous projects. You know, like if I had to put them in a category, my previous projects were like soul. But this new project is strictly smooth jazz, with of course my influence, but like it's strictly smooth jazz, and this is what I've been kind of the project I've been waiting on.
So now talking about this from jazz and everything, would you say now that jazz has always been a part of your foundation, or a part of really who you are from a foundation standpoint, or this kind of your favorite genre, which is why it's so special to you now?
Oh yeah, yeah. So I mean, like I grew up listening to jazz, but of course, I have the gospel influence and the R&B influence as well.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm a young guy, so
yeah.
but like jazz is definitely the core of my foundation for sure.
Okay. So for you, what I know you had a couple of different projects. We're going to kind of talk about them a little in here very soon. What is it about the jazz influence that you are so eager to be able to share with your audience that obviously in your past albums that you didn't be able to kind of give that full, I guess, realm of what it of your jazz side. So why is it so important that you want to give this side for yourself to everybody?
Well, I pride myself on being a pretty diverse guy, and
Okay.
you never know what you get with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, it's
Cool.
gonna be great. It's gonna be fantastic. But so I've shown people my, that side, but I haven't shown people my smooth jazz side or things that are actually going on in my head while I'm, working out other things. So this right here is like everything that I wanted to get out of my head
Yes.
is out. So
Oh,
that's why I'm excited about it. Because a lot of people say, oh, sometimes I don't get everything I want out. But this one was like, hey, everything I wanted, I got.
yes. Okay. So speaking of that, as a saxophonist, and this is something that's very interesting to me. You hear the music, the sound. Most time, you guys kind of emulate another song that you guys do the words and everything without actually singing it, but you're just that skilled to do that. So take us through a normal process of creating an album, uh, personally for your process and your motivation, and also do you write your own music as well?
I do write my own music. So the way I kind of go through without it, I get like a catchy hook. For me, when I listen to just
Okay.
regular music, the first thing that I look for is a hook.
Yes.
Is a
Yes.
hook catchy, right? So for me, that's the first thing that comes to me is a catchy hook.
Okay.
And then once I get the catchy hook, I kind of create my melody around that, right?
Wow.
So I start with the hook, right? Then from that I produce the song. Then from the song I go to the verses, right? And then I create a bridge.
Okay.
That's kind of my thought process of like when I actually produce.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So going with that, like I said, you have a couple of projects that been able to put out, which was Heart. Was it My Heart or Heart? My Heart.
My,
My Heart. So the My Heart, and I like that My Heart. Now it's something of one of the songs on there for me, because this is my first time listening to it was a couple of days back.
mhm.
I actually listened to the full album. Do you have a special song on there? Because I'm gonna tell you one of my special ones that stuck out to me, and again, I love saxophone because personally, I feel it is the sexiest instrument out there, bar none.
Oh, for sure. Let me see what your favorite is first. What's your favorite?
um, that it's got because it got a girl on there. That is the truth. God, oh golly, my God, I just listened to it. That is it. That is God dog it. I can't believe I'm having a brain fart.
Time of my life.
Yes, time of my life. Yes, yes, yes. That's the
Oh,
one. I'm like, okay, like you was kind of just, it was something about that was different that I
right.
like. So anyway, sorry, go ahead. That was mine. What's yours?
My favorite for me was Sweet Talk and My Heart. I it's a toss up between the two because My
Okay.
Heart was the first song that came to me. And I had a phenomenal producer Mr. Mario Maitland, my
Yeah,
brother.
shout out to Mate. Was on the show a couple of weeks, about a month or so ago. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So when I came to him, I was like, "Yo, I really want to put out an album. I want to put out a project. Let's do it." The first one that came to me was My Heart, but
Okay.
then I got a chance to actually show off my producing skills with Sweet Talk. So Sweet
Mm,
Talk for me, I produced everything on the track, like
wow.
top to
Okay.
bottom. Yeah. So
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I want to cut you out. Go
oh
ahead. I got
yeah,
another question for that one.
yeah. So for me, Sweet Talk has a special place in my heart. But Time of My Life. We had came to the studio one day and I was like, yo, I really want to do something different that nobody's heard about. He was like, well, let's put a little hip hop influence in there. So, we started to
Mhm.
like get the chord structures down and I was like, okay, cool, I'm with it. And so I took one take for a scratch. And next thing you know, Mario flipped it. It was like added all like the DJ scratches, and he was like, "Yo, it's gonna start off like this, and we're gonna do this and that, and the boom boom."
Yeah,
then came together. I was like, "That's it right there."
It definitely spoke, man. It did a lot of speaking to me. We got a couple of people jumping in here. Real quick, I want to say it. Oh, so my Raven Williams, she said, "Hey, Time of My Life" was her favorite as well on the album.
Right, yeah.
Reckon with that one. Also, Annie Cobb, shout out to her. A man, Willie Williams, is that Preston Thomas? I guess one of those extraordinary instrument or musicians as well, I guess, Preston Thomas. So let's jump into this question for you. What is some of your, when you're creating an album, creating a sound, what are some of the past and maybe even present artists that a musician that you tend to pull from as well, that kind of helps add to your influence and things of that nature?
Man, so for me, I have my top three, my famous top three.
Okay, let's hear it.
Marcus Anderson is a phenomenal sax player. If you don't know, check him out. Joe Albright, I call it the king of altissimo because he goes up there fluently. And the smooth man himself, Kirk Whalum. Those are my three tops.
Okay.
Every time I think of anything, or anytime I play anything, I always think about how they would go about it. And they all have their own unique style. So it's like, one would kind of do this and another one would do something totally opposite of what the first one would do. So.
I like that. And so these things kind of add that little, what kind of what kind of twist does it add to each one of them kind of has their own different element, I guess, as you say.
Right.
So that kind of also helps broaden your perspective of, okay, how music kind of supposed to sound, or like, hey, it's okay to go outside the box, or hey, let's take this approach, that approach. Does that kind of bring that little more of a creativity to you?
It does. Because I mean, for Marcus Anderson, he's like out of the box,
Yes.
And Joe Albright, he's more in the box, but he's gonna give you everything he has, like thrills and thrash. And Kirk Whalum, he's not gonna do much, but he's gonna make sure you understand, like, hey, this is it. Like this is it. Like I can do more, but I just want to give you some nice sound, something to bob your head to. So I think with all that combined together, it creates a great mix.
Yes, I love it. So my next question: do you have an alter ego? Most artists and musicians and things, especially artists, have an alter ego, like singers. But I look at you as basically a singer, but you just do it with the saxophone, because you'll be the solo on the stage doing your own thing. Would you say that Alex Banks, the second, has an alter ego, or pretty much what you see on the interviews, the same type of energy and things you get on the stage as well?
Yeah, I think I do. Because there's a place where I go to, like, where I'm in my zone.
Yes.
That's why I call it in my zone. So when I'm in my zone, I'm really paying attention to the crowd. I'm paying attention to their reactions. Like, they may not pay attention to mine, but I see their facial expressions. And so if they like how I bend the note, I'm like, I get a reaction from that. And so I'm focusing. Right. So like the band, like my MD Trey Calhoun, he ends up, he controls that part. So as long as they follow me, they're good. And so when I'm in the zone, my main focus is the crowd and their reaction. I'm like, they like this. All right. They don't too much like this. Is maybe a little bit out of their comfort zone, but I think I can, so whatever they react to, that's what I give them.
I like that. So that's a skill set that speaks for itself. So basically you play to the crowd and do your own thing within the song, within the confinement of the song, but you're so skilled that you can kind of like, hey, you like this? Oh, I'm going to bring this back again for you guys.
Yep.
Now, speaking of that here, I'm going to get you guys, it's one way to hear you talk about it, but to actually get the chance to see it. So I was able to kind of get a clip of you, man. One of the latest clips I was able to pull off where you were working the crap out the crowd, and they was 100,000% feeling you. So I'm gonna let the audience here to get a chance to check you out real quick here. So you guys bear with me for like 5 or 6 seconds here while we get this thing loaded up. And we're gonna let my man do his thing and work, so we can see them skills flex in here. So without further ado, I'll bring it up, share the screen for you guys, and watch my man do what he do.
Well, I'll tell you, that boy Al is a bad boy. Get yourself.
All right, everybody. Yeah, that's my man Alex D. Banks the second, showing how he kind of works the crowd and do what he do, man. I had to, and you see, I had to kind of, yeah. Good. So go ahead, pat yourself on the back.
Oh man, yeah, that was in the archives, man. That was
Yeah. Oh, I got another one for you, brother. We're gonna hold that for a little later on.
okay.
Man, so kind of, I'm gonna give you the chance to tell us a bit more about that setting at that particular time. But one thing I did is I kind of moved it forward because you killed the crowd, you wowed them so much that you had to go out and get an encore.
Right.
And in Alex fashion, he came back and did just that with a solo, just like that, man. So I think that's kind of giving the audience a chance to now viewers to see like what you talk about is you really bring that to the table. So tell us what was that setting like, man, that situation. Where was that at actually?
Man, that was at Lee High School.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They had a talent show. The Magnet program had a talent show, and so I was like the judge of a talent show. And so
judge?
I was a judge. So I was a judge. And at the time, one of my good friends, Brandon Gaddis, he actually worked there. He was like, "Hey, you're gonna judge them, but I want you to perform." So I'm like, "Okay, of course, like no problem at all." So I mean, and when I tell you, like the energy was just crazy. Like of course, like again, I had a song that related to them. "Stay With Me" by popular tune. And I mean, like they just related to me so much. It was just like it was going crazy. And so like, I mean, it was amazing. It was probably one of those experiences that you really can't put into words, but you just had to be there.
Yes. So let's talk about this. What are some of your for Alex? What are some of your go-to songs that they're gonna rock the crowd? The crowd gonna be able to get to because you're gonna have those songs where you're like, hey, I just got to be true to the art of a saxophonist.
Right.
Play those jazz songs or certain songs that you just like. That's what the core of it is. But you got those songs that we know you want to grab the crowd, or some of those key songs that you always have played, or even to now that's relevant to do it.
Man, anything Stevie Wonder for me is a go-to. You have, I mean, Superstition, like Superstition, a go-to. Master Blaster jamming, like that, go-to. Before I Let Go, Maze, go-to. any classic that people relate to, like it's a go-to because for them it's like, man, I remember when this song either first came out, or man, this is the song that grandma used to play at the house, or like
it's cooking and cleaning. Yeah,
exactly. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they relate to it, and so anything that's relatable, any classic that's relatable, anything Michael, that's a go-to song. Classic. Because they like people relate to that, and if they hear things that they relate to, it's like, wow, it gives you a different perspective because it takes you to a different place.
Yes. And I'm gonna say I have to shout out that's my guy. You see Willie Williams in here. That's one of my truest friends. Go way back. He was definitely play son, hit that note, like he's digging it, he's loving it. Man, what you're doing. My wife be on there saying yes, she's supporting, she's loving it. So anyway, I just had to make sure that the people know that they are 11, what you're bringing to the table. Also, you got Chandra Curley, Curley, I say, hey Alex, miss you. What off?
Oh man, Miss Chandra Curley. And if you haven't seen BET's new series, Bruh, you gotta check her out. She's the lead cast. Okay. Yeah, she's the lead cast, and the Tyler Perry's BET Plus series, Bruh. So
nice. Hey, Sandra, hey, we just on the show. Hey, come on the show. It's crazy. It's a whole story. I'm in the acting game, so I definitely love. I haven't seen it yet, but I definitely will be putting it on the bucket list to get that going. So let's kind of move on here. Again, shout out to Sandra. No, seriously. Get you guys going here. We have another thing that I like to talk about. Is kind of, we see what you're doing now, and you're doing great things. But let's kind of move it on back.
Okay.
How did you first get into playing the saxophone? Or first, or better yet, what out of all the instruments that you could have picked to play, what pulls you to the saxophone as to be your bread and butter?
So for me, my mom always wanted to play saxophone, but when she was a kid, she couldn't afford it, and she wouldn't let me play football. So, and that really didn't seal the deal for me. But it was one of those things in the back of my mind, like, okay, like that's cool. But I was in elementary school, 6th grade to be exact, because for us, 6th grade was still in elementary school. Yeah. The middle school band came and performed, and I mean, like literally, this saxophonist stood up and did a solo, and like so he walked in front of the stage and did a solo, and like when I tell you, it was like really cool because he was doing a whole lot of good stuff. I'm like, man, that's really cool. And then I remember. My mom like, oh, the saxophone. So it kind of correlated to me like, oh, that's the saxophone.
That's how you get it. Yeah, that's how you get it. Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I'm a child from middle school band. And so I scored the highest in like all the saxophone sections. And from then on, it was a match made in heaven.
So now what other instrument did you play as well?
I play keys and I play drums as well.
Oh, okay, the sticks, okay. So which one? So were the keys or the drums or the saxophone the one that kind of came first, and you just kind of moved into the other ones?
So for me, sax came first. Sax was the bread and butter, as you said it, right? Mm-hmm. But as for me, like when playing sax, I'm like, oh, okay. Like I like to hear and be able to be like, oh, I like to know what I'm talking about first and foremost, right? Yeah. So for me, like I asked for a piano. And I would start like pecking on the keys, and I would kind of play I'll play like my C on the sax, and then try to find it on the piano. And that's how the piano kind of grew and started. So I would take what I knew from saxophone and translate it to the piano. And then for that was drums.
Wow. Definitely a skill set, man. Full sound. My man Willie was saying had full sound. I was thinking he was an athlete or a musician. So definitely got that knack in there. Now let's move in from there. You go into it. You as a guy, I always got to ask people when they say playing music and they're around the local area. It's a guy from my area. I'm from Decatur.
Okay.
Reginald Jackson, a classic. Have you heard of the man? Have you ever had any encounters with him in the music scene in this area?
That was my mentor. I took lessons from him at least 4 years, at least. And I went back to him to do like music theory. Like So look, if you ever see him, tell him Alex said what's up and let him talk about me. He's like, man, if I could just get him to practice.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
we were going
crazy.
through it. It was really hard stuff. It was hard stuff. So, me and him talk from time to time. I still keep up with him, what he's doing. And he'd be like, man, you finally practiced. It's like a running joke.
Yes. So yeah, man, that's a man right there, man. So we kind of move back into your music here. What you're talking about as far as your album. Now your first one you had came out, I think it was 2018.
Mm-hmm.
My Heart. We kind of spoke about that previously, and then you released a single later on, Tell Me. Now from there to now the new project you got here. Between that Tell Me, how did that Tell Me come about, and how have you said you say the growth has been from Tell Me in My Heart to what you're working on now?
Man, so for Tell Me was one of those singles that are like dear to my heart. It was actually for me about like mental health awareness, because a lot of people know I have a degree in electrical engineering as well. So for me, when I had put Tell Me out, I was in the senior year of my degree, and I had a lot of pressure on me, and I wouldn't really, for me, music is an outlet for me. Like I love to just come and play sax and just kind of forget about everything. So for me, Tell Me was one of those things where like, hey, tell me what's going on. For me, like I'm a spiritual guy. So it was one like, hey, like tell me what's on your mind, like talk, And so for me, that was my way of talking.
Okay. And that you know what? To make that expression, man, to be able to just be your own outlet like that is amazing.
Yeah.
Like I said, and so many people don't have that voice. That's why music for me, I understand, I believe it is so influential and so important, so vital, even to healing to the world in general.
Yes.
You can do so much. You have so many messages have been put out through music to change things for the better. It just affects moods in so many different ways. Now, they got to move from there. Like I completely agree with you. You also go back. You had your first opening scene, with your first music video, as well as your first song, or single, First Crush. 17 years old.
Yeah.
Back then, you came over. I told you I had some stuff in the archives.
Yeah, you're digging in the archives, man. Yeah. So First Crush was actually, there's an album associated with that called Projection.
Okay.
Right. So I have an album. There was an album out called Projection, and that was produced by none other than Mr. Brandon Pear himself.
Okay.
So when we were going through, I'm like, hey man, Brandon, I want to create an album. That was actually my first album I ever had, mixed and mastered and everything like that. So I was like, hey, like I want to do an album. He was like, all right, let's do it, bro. Let's do it. So I'm like, okay, cool. So he had showed me a track that he had already made, and I'm like, I want that. Like I need that. He was like, cool, let's do it. And from there, like I came up with words, lyrics, and all. And so my manager at the time, Edward Wilson, was like, hey, that song is so dope. Let's do a music video to it. Like, because I'm always thinking about things that not many people do, right? As relates to my field. So I'm like, I haven't seen a music video with a sax player in it. Yeah. So I'm like, so we actually flew up to New York 3 days before Thanksgiving.
Exactly. I'll say, why New York? I saw that. I'm like, it's New York. Wow.
Oh yeah, we flew up to New York 3 days before Thanksgiving because I wanted to capture the scenery of New York, right? And so we go to New York, and it is like the record cold day ever. So like, if you see in the music video, I'm like changing constantly. So like, once I have like this thin long sleeve on, and I come to like a bubble coat, like it was because my hands were literally freezing. Like, yeah. But it was such a great experience. And I mean, literally, I met great people, and I mean, the scenery was beautiful. So like, we shot 3 days nonstop from like morning, noon, and night. Because we wanted to capture all of the, we wanted to capture every bit of it. So we did like downtown New York, of course, the Macy's Believe sign. We walked alongside the railways of like the subways. Like, and we did, like, it was a lot. So we captured all that. We embodied that to come out with First Crush.
Actually, it was dope. It was a very dope video. I'm like, oh, okay, man, 17. He had the skinny line up, he was fresh, young face, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely impressed. I'm like, okay, man, he's been doing this for a minute. Like and that's for me, what inspires you, man, to like he was only, it said he was only 17 at that time when that video was shot. And at that young of an age, playing an instrument that is kind of is very relevant, but you don't see people how they become a star in the aspect of really taking that jump so early at age 17, and then you guys went to New York to do it. What is it about you that you saw or people around you that really helped you to believe in yourself that you could do this, and you like, hey, I'm going all out. Yeah, I'm young. I'm not even 18 yet, but let's go with this thing. What was it about that gave you that inner push that you have inside you?
Well, for me, music was like my first love. It was that was it. Like, so with that, and I had a strong, and still have a strong support team. My family, my mom. Like, when I tell you, like, they make sure that she makes sure, like, she supports me 100% at every show. And if she can't, she always has my family to come in. And my family is a strong support. And I was raised to believe that anything I put my mind to and I put my time to, I'll succeed. So for me, and me and my mom laugh now because like I used to call her Joe Jackson because she was hard on me. Like, just hard. Like, she'll make sure I practice 3 and 4 hours every night. But again, right, yeah, we're real. And she would sit there and be like, I don't like that. Like, we start all the way over again. So, for me, I used to hate it. But I'm like, but again, the motto was anything you put your mind to and anything you put your time to, you'll succeed. So she was like, you have your mind to it. You may not put the time into it, but I'm gonna make sure you put the time into it.
I'm gonna help you with that.
Exactly, right. You got the mind part. I'm gonna help you with the time part. So, so with that, that was it. So, and I knew music was my love, so I didn't mind doing it, even though I may not have wanted to do it at that moment. But I knew it was a bigger goal.
You want to do.
Right, yeah. I was like, but I knew there was a bigger goal in mind. So for me, that's it.
Okay. Now let's move into, now we got to the present day. We got so much going on. Now, you've been working with your new project you got coming up that you're looking to release at the top of the year, which I'm excited to make sure we get a chance to know when it's coming out. With it, I'm on it. So with that being said, you have had the opportunity to work with so many different artists and things. Now things kind of have slowed down. Better yet, before I go there, this question, let me go ahead and come back here. Like I said, you've been working with so many different artists in your past. You cannot give a few of the names. This one, the blue one, Kim Burrell. Oh, how can you be playing behind? She's an instrument herself. Like her keys are not human. Like that's not human. But man, when we go, what do you like to do? How am I gonna play behind you? I don't know what you're doing something that doesn't exist anyway. Great gift. You got Kim Burrell, Eric X's. You got 480 East. You got Cool in the Gang. You said to work with them as well. Marietta Clark Brown, just to name a few. We got a few more on this thing. Cindy Bradley, just name a few. So tell about how did some of those opportunities come your way, and what was that experience for you to be able to work with such elite, respected talent like that?
Literally, it was right place and right timing. That's it. All credit to God. It was unbelievable. Every artist that I've worked with is an unbelievable experience. Like, I learned so much, and the experience is great. Like, for Kim Burrell, I was playing behind her, and all the artists I was playing behind them, and it was just I can't even put it to words. So like, even with like Cindy Bradley, we had a show in Huntsville and we had a show in Pensacola. So it was just unbelievable. It is different. Every artist I work with is a different challenge that I face, right? So for me, having to challenge myself in different areas and overcome that challenge and perform, it's an amazing experience.
When you're dealing with it, you got to kind of get over the nerves of, hey, I'm singing behind Kim Burrell or Cindy Bradley, and to be like, oh, whoa, I'm made for this. I belong here. Talk about how much that process to get over the nerves to really go in.
Man, So, you know, for me, like it was nerve-wracking. I'm like, oh man, like this is it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I knew that they had just as much as confidence in me as I had in myself. Right. So like they see it in me and I know I can do the job. They know I can do the job.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I knew then, hey, I was made for this.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
So and that's kind of how it is. It's like, you know, at the same time, like I was starstruck and I was like, oh man, this is big. Like, but I was like, at the same time, I was like, hey, like I'm no different from them. They see what I have in me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's it.
You know, and that's a beautiful way to look at it, man, because I think a lot of times we put the pressure on ourselves. You look at, okay, oh my goodness, yo, this could be my opportunity. They may want to sign me, or maybe lead to bigger things. And like, hey, whoa, just slow it down, live in the moment, just embrace this opportunity. This is what you do. They know what you do. You do what you do. They do what they do. You know.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the magic of that, man. Now, what's some of the artists out here that you would like to work with that you have not worked with? It's kind of on your bucket list, whether it is an artist, a singer, whatever.
Ooh, man, let's see. I mean, it's a lot from smooth jazz to R&B. I would love to work with Babyface. I would love to work with Babyface. That's one. Two, I would love to collab with Joe Albright.
Okay. I know that, right?
I would also love to collab with Marcus Anderson and Marcus Johnson. So these are like smooth jazz people.
Yes.
R&B, let's see. Ooh, it's a lot.
Give me a top three. Give me a top two, three.
Top 2 and 3. Okay. I would love to work with Eric Benet. He's this like 3.
That's a guy. Yes.
Yeah. And Teddy Riley.
Whew.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You know what? That's a really good one. Okay, so it kind of feels like you got a strong passion for the new jack swing, the R&B, the '90s R&B. Is that kind of what I'm sensing here?
Yeah, man. I mean, like, because you have to think about how their like process was back in the day. It's not like today. Yeah. It's totally different, you know. Like, and so for them, they've had to not only adapt to the new, but keep that same feeling. So it's like it's kind of unmatched in a way.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree. That natural feel for it, that passion for it. So that's a beautiful thing. Now, moving to the present day, with everything going on with the COVID-19, man, I don't even want to say the word, the C word, the pandemic going on. It has strangely put a stranglehold on so many lives, man, across the board. And I think of especially people in the entertainment field, even such as myself with my acting, you with your music, man. How was that initial shock to find out how real this thing was and how it completely just kind of put a halt to everything? And how have you been navigating through that? And what was your initial response to it initially?
Yeah, my initial response was like, wow. Like to see everything cease in a matter of like 1 to 2 days. It was a shocking thing. It was like, because you've never experienced it before.
Yes.
But it was such a blessing in disguise because it's like, now you have to tap into other things. You have to be creative, right? Mm-hmm. And as a creative, we're always creative, but we always kind of miss the part of like being creative and how to make revenue come, right? Mm-hmm. So I mean, like even when it comes down to the live stream, like that was a creative thing, right?
Yeah.
But at a point, it's like, you know, so it's like, okay, now that's happened, and it may compensate, it may not, but like it gave me a chance to be creative. It also gave me a chance to kind of tighten some things up on different ends of the spectrum that nobody thinks about, you know? Like for instance, I was able to complete an album, you know? So sometimes we're always running and performing that we don't really have time, or we have to like take time off to really tap into our creative side. So this right here was like, right here, hey, this is the best break right here you got. So we were able to tap into our creative side, put more music out. So I'm expecting when this thing wraps up, I mean, every creative is going to have good material, thought about material, because they've had time to sit in the house and think about what they want to do, what they don't want to do, you know? And so that's what it's been for me. And And so I kind of made, like they say, you got to make lemonade out of lemons.
I like it. I like it. And those are ones, the people that really took advantage of this is with the ones who I feel are going to come out on the winning end when everything is over. Like you said, like they mentioned, my man Willie says, hey, it was a blessed break.
Yeah.
And like I said, you definitely and not to belittle what it was, because it was and it still is a very serious thing that's going on that has I've known people who have lost, not only got afflicted with it, but have lost their lives, unfortunately. And so we're praying for a cure sooner than later. But I see, even right now, I wasn't doing lives. I was just doing strictly on my podcast, send it out on my YouTube page, different things of that nature. And this kind of reintroduced me back to the live. I used to do lives a while back, but I got away from it. And so it puts me back in a whole different element myself. And I see what I love about it. It created for artists like yourself, man. You guys start doing a lot of virtual interview concerts and things. You got the big time celebrity artists, they doing the verses and things. I mean, it completely, people find, like you said, find a way how to innovate their skill set to entertain, you know what I'm saying? So it became a very, very strong asset. And speaking of that, you had one that came out, it was like maybe a couple months ago in May. You had a virtual, and this is like the coming of age, my man, like the one we saw at the Lee High School that was like a year or two ago back. And then they had another videos from the show that was even further back. So I want to kind of give you guys a little snippet of how my man is working now with his band. He talked about his band being behind him and everything. On virtual, he don't even know. He's like, what are you saying, man?
Hey, look, I'm looking like, wait a minute.
Yeah, we're gonna show this a little quick snippet of this. Then we're gonna break it down, let him get a chance to give us some live show, look snippet of what he got to offer. You guys sit back and give me a few moments to report this up. A man at a virtual concert featuring the one and only himself, the man, Alex D. Banks II.
Welcome, y'all, to the first episode of our very own pay-per-view channel right here through Crowd Music. I know y'all even see the picture quality right now that's going on in your live.
Tonight, we got my man, Aaron Stapler on guitar. Let's go.
My man.
Man.
How'd you like it? How you like it? Surprise.
Man, yeah. That was a fun show.
I can tell, man. Tell us a little bit about the show. What was that show at? And yeah, man, how did that come about? And how'd you get your own feature like that?
Man, so it was at the Perfect Note in Birmingham.
Okay.
Birmingham. So the owner contacted me and was like, hey, I got this opportunity for you to have a live streaming concert with this new platform called Crowd Music. And he wanted me to be the first performance. So I'm like, okay, I'm down with it. Like, because we've been there now probably 7-8 times, the Perfect Note, which is a complete honor. And I thank God for that. But so when we get there, it's a whole production. Like there's camera crews everywhere and there's no people. So it was like, in the virtual, and every time we go down there, it's always sold out. So this is totally different. It was like, there's nobody except the people who are moving around.
Yes.
Only there. And so it was like we had to put on that same show if there were like millions of people. And of course, there were on the online platform, there was a lot of people tuned in and purchased tickets and everything like that. But it almost took the pressure off of performing.
Okay.
And I say almost. The reason why I say almost is because like when you have people looking at you, you have nervousness, but nobody's looking at you because you can't see the people, but you know they're there.
Yeah.
And so like it definitely gives you a total different perspective. It was like, how can I explain it? It was unimaginable. Like to perform with my brothers on stage, a full concert, knowing people are at home watching it. Yeah, like it was great, and I felt like at that point, you know, we always feed off each other as a band, but at that point, we really had to lean on each other, and they came through.
Wow, you know, and I saw my man over there also, Mario Maitland was down there with you, getting on the keys and everything. Yeah, so you know, I had a chance to get him doing his thing as well. So I knew that it was great to have one of your, or I guess one of your mentors almost in his own right with that. So yeah, it was a perfect thing, man. And I thought it was very. I wanted to bring it up because I saw that it's been a very interesting thing to see how you guys been able to use their platform, like you're doing these virtual concerts and things like that. And like you guys were getting it in, you know, everybody was playing their part, but then they had their little break solos, and everybody got busy.
My band always laughs at me because, like, for me, I love to hear them play, like because each of them are their own individual artists, and they bring their own flavor. So I'm like, hey, I need you to bring that out, like bring it out. And so like they'll be like at any moment, I'm like, I think that people need to hear Aaron Stapler, who was a guitar player playing in that video. I'm like, Aaron, give him what you got, you know? And I step back and he let it go. And then I come back in, and like, that's how we feed off of each other. Cause it's like, we all bring our own talent. We're all superbly talented. Like, so it's like, if you bring, you know, talented people or like-minded people in the same room, you would have no choice but either we push each other, right? So he come and give a killer solo, or Mario come and give a killer solo. I can't just come back with, you know, with three. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like
oh, that was nice. That was cool. Yeah.
I gotta come back like, oh, I'm gonna one up you real quick. Watch this, you know. And so that's kind of that's how we had to lean on each other. It was like, hey, we give the energy, like we are the energy. So.
It took it back to the days like when we used to be gigs. I'm also play drums. I don't really play anymore, but I love them today. I love music to my core. But yeah, you like to go back when you go to the church, and you just go with your homeboy spots somewhere. You guys get in the garage, and you just gig it. You know what I'm saying? You just get it. You get it. So that whole feel, that whole vibe is all about just authentic talent, authentic, just genuine passion for what you do. And you could definitely see that came through the screen on that the whole time while you guys was out there playing. And then my man even had the little Zapp and Roger thing going on. The computer, I forgot the sound you call it. Like
the vocoder? Oh yeah.
Getting busy. I said, okay, he was getting busy out there. So a phenomenal thing, man, to see that as going on for you guys. Now let's kind of transition here. Now again, we always come to a part of the show where you guys will show you clips of what he do, and that's great. It's wonderful. But we'll get a chance to kind of see what he got going on right now, live and uncut, raw in his house. He on the 36 platform, because the guy can't bring some entertainers on here and they can't show their skills, boom, on the spot. So if you're ready, let me know when you're ready. We're gonna bring you up before you can kind of share with us what you got going on right now. You hear a little piece of it.
Oh man, so I'm excited to show you guys, man. So this what I'm about to show you guys right here is gonna be on my new album. It's not mixed or mastered. It's just the final files coming up in. Yeah. So I'm gonna give y'all the sneak peek of what's about to come on this new album, man. I hope y'all ready, because it's gonna be. All right, let's see what I got here. Let's see if you guys can hear it. Oh no.
All right, all right. I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. Nice little smooth little jazz, but a little up the tempo you got going on there. What's the feel for that one, real quick? Give a little insight on that.
Oh man, so when me and Darius were like coming together, I was like, man, I really want something just different. Like I'm young, but I have an old soul, so I want that mix. He was like, I got you. So he sent me the first thing. I'm like, oh, I'm really liking this one right here. He was like, hey, you don't like it? I promise you, I'll keep it. I'm like, nope. And so yeah. And so then I came up with the melody line, like, okay, here it is. Like, and so he was like, yeah, I like that. And so from there, we collabed together with the parts and we came up with that special tune right there.
What I like, got that magic, man. So at the top of you got a title for it yet?
It's called After Hours.
Oh, okay, that's that grown in the After Hours.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I love it, man. Well, what we're gonna do here, we don't want to take up too much more of you guys' time of your time. Man, it has been a wonderful, wonderful time spending here with you to talk about your career, where you're going, what you got going on currently, and where you're going. But all good things must come to an end. But before that, I want to make sure I give you the last word to sign us out here with what you're going to be, kind of some inspirational words to the viewers, to the listeners, as I always make sure I have to do here for the E36 podcast show.
For sure. My last words are this. When you find your purpose in itself, there is no limit. So whatever your purpose may be, like do it well. And when you do it well, you have no limits.
Wow. Well, you guys heard it. I can't, there's nothing to really say about that. That's something for me. Go all out, man. Do it. I appreciate you guys, man. I appreciate the last word for you, Alex. As always, I tell everybody, making sure you guys stay in tune, hit this like button, hit the share button. When it's over, share it, go subscribe. You guys go subscribe to the E36 Unfiltered podcast show, or better yet, my YouTube channel. I got the link. I'll be putting a link here in the comment section, so you guys make sure you go and subscribe to it. Go support the platform. I got so much release going on here, releasing some more brand new, fresh interviews this week as well. So you guys make sure you guys don't miss it. Tune in, check us out. I am your host, E. Gray of the E36 Unfiltered Podcast Show. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful, blessed night. We are out of here. Thank you.
E36 Unfiltered, aka the Unfiltered Room with Mr. E. Gray. Introducing all the latest names and the latest news. Hottest take, he the new face, yeah, the new sound, but keep it old school and raw interviews from local athletes, even digging out for entertainment too.